Okay, literally seconds ago, about 10 seconds ago, I just finished Empire of Death and turned on this camera. Whoa, man. There was a lot I liked here. There was a lot of emotional resonance. I cried a few times. There was a lot of stuff that was good here. But Russell, you really fucking fumbled. like oh man. Um I still really enjoy this era, and I really enjoy the 15th Doctor and Ruby, but way to fucking fumble your season mystery. And the whole the bringing back Suit. Oh, man, my thoughts are kind of going to be all over the place, so I don't know how much of a comprehensive review this is going to be, as opposed to just sort of rambling rant initial reactions. But let's say it right away. um no, you can't pull that shit with Ruby. You can't do that, because you're retconning your own build up. It's different if you're like, oh, this is, I know you're trying, Russell, to do a subversion of your build up, be like, oh, this is the subversion of the expectations. But no, you're not. You're retconning that build up to say it wasn't real, it wasn't true. And we've watched a whole season, and even more back into the specials, that that explicitly show buildup that you're now retconning. Like Ruby's mother in a cloak. There's no reason she'd be wearing a weird cloak like that. One. Two, the whole pointing situation. No, she would. There's no one around other than the doctor, who was standing right there. She wouldn't point at a sign. it and the whole ability for Ruby to subconsciously summon Snow and recalculate that day, there's clearly she has some power. She has some sort of ability, and you're just throwing that away. You're just throwing it in the trash. What was the point of setting it up? What was the point of making that a mystery? To defeat Sutek, this villain you brought back from Classic Who, which is totally fine to bring back villains from Classic Who. It's a cool thing to do. But that's your way of defeating Sutek, because it's the one thing he didn't understand was Ruby's mother and the mystery of that. What, so Sutek couldn't see her, and that was his whole thing, his whole reason for keeping the Doctor and Ruby and Mel, for to a certain extent, alive. Was that what? So he could find, because he was just a curious little doggy, so he could find out who Ruby's mother was. That's what he really wanted to know, and that only fucking works if there's actually something there. And I love I'm so conflicted in it, because I do love the idea of Ruby's mother being, a rando who was going through a hard life and had to, give up her child, and there being no ill will there, and ultimately being for the best for all parties involved. I love that idea, and I love that resolution, but it only works if you didn't do the setup for a big sci-fi mystery. Like you're not doing a subversion, would have been fine, but you're not doing subversion because you're retconning evidence. You're saying, oh, she wasn't pointing at me, she was pointing at a sign. No, we saw she was pointing at you. And the snow, what did it mean? What did it entail? It even showed it in this episode. What did it mean? Maybe I missed something. I don't know. Maybe I missed something, but the snow that Ruby has the subconscious ability to summon to regular that day, rando human can just do that, I guess. I don't know. um, and talk about retcons. Sutek being latched on to the TARDIS since the last time the Doctor fought Sutek in 2004. Why now? Why now is Sutek just coming to using their ability to manifest? Was that ever explained? Did I miss that? Because it was I was watching it as it comes, and maybe they explained that. But all of a sudden now, right when they're trying like right when they happen to come here and deal with the Susan Triad stuff and the Susan Triad stuff. Um, so apparently, Sutek was creating her as like everywhere the TARDIS went, he was leaving her there as um, you know, a point to bring his harbinger of death, um, you know, to that location, and if that's the case, and he was doing that ever since the Fourth Doctor fought him, seemingly. Um, why is the Doctor just now seeing her everywhere? Wouldn't he have realized long ago that he's seeing the same person all his adventures, not just this season, in this iteration? It makes no fucking sense. And here's the other issue with the whole bi-generation David Tennant thing. Like, there's a whole other TARDIS there that was completely unaccounted for on this episode. That was like, what, 10, 15 minutes away? like, like, you would think they at least give an explanation, be like, okay, Sutek, that's considered life, so Sutek wiped it out too. Like, an at least acknowledgement. I don't know. That's a little nitpicky, I admit. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I loved what they did. It was very Chibnall-esque. Um, what they did with the like random survivor and like showing how like some of the spell was like kind of very slow to trickle down. And I liked that sequence, and I thought it was very sad and like really touching. You know, um, and it did remind me of the Chibnall era quite a bit. Like that's such a scene that would have been in flux. You know, uh, um, but yeah, I mean, and the whole way they defeated Sutek, like I didn't really follow it. I didn't really understand it. They like grabbed him with the rope and the rope and the gloves from the first episode, like as a callback, and like tied him to the TARDIS. And like, I guess if he's oozing this death spell, if the death spell applies to the death he already created as they go through the time vortex, it like negates itself and becomes life, and everyone's reborn. And I know this was supposed to be like, you know, Russell probably came up with this when the Infinity War Endgame shit was big, and he was like, "Oh, if I come back, or if he knew me, maybe he knew already that he was coming back to Doctor Who. Who knows?" He's like, "If I come back to Doctor Who, I'll do a story like with like Thanos shit, you know." And that resolution just makes no sense. And then like the end, they just let him go in the time vortex. Like I didn't, you know, I haven't seen the classic Who story that this is like, you know, a successor to, but like isn't letting him go in the time vortex what caused him to come back in the first place and latch on? Like isn't that what caused this whole problem in the first place? Like there's no other solution? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It was a fucking mess. Was it still heartwarming at times and enjoyable? Yes. Oh, to talk about Miss Flood. They never addressed Miss. They they never resolved or addressed Miss Flood, but it's got to be Susan Foreman, right? They're building her up so much. Um, like, you know, um, I lost my train of thought because I was thinking about something else in the episode. But yeah, like it's got to be Susan Foreman. I don't see them doing anything else with her at this point, and if they do, it will be weird because they've been setting up Susan Foreman so much, and every one of it has been like a misdirect. Like they got to be like next season, Miss Flood is revealed to be, you know, the Doctor's granddaughter. That's got to be what it's setting up, right? You know, that's fine with me if they didn't reveal that specific thing in this episode. You know, I like that we saw her happy. That's what leads me toward this story as well, where she came back and was like, you know, because it was still like, oh, is she villainous? Oh no, but no, she was like happy and excited, and I feel like that duality is kind of like a bit reflective of like Susan's like kind of like mood twist that I've been seeing in my watchings of Classic Who that I've been doing recently. So yeah, you know, that was like I'm fine that they're saving that for next season. They didn't need to shoot the horn that in right now. That's totally fine. But the departure of Ruby as a companion is very strange because I'm fairly certain they've already announced that she's one of two core companions for next season. Um, I could be wrong. I could be misremembering what I read or something like that, but I'm fairly certain that was the case. And like they gave her a really definitive companion departure. Like with the emotional resonance of it, like it is a little weird because it's almost like I guess the vibe that they were going for with that sequence was that Ruby was denying her, like lying to herself about really wanting to depart. You know, you don't hear that? That was weird. I heard a weird noise. Anyway, I'm alone in this old decrepit house, so there's probably some spooks going on. um, yeah, there could be Dukes of Spook around. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, they gave her like a definitive departure. And like I guess the vibe that they were going for with that scene was that like she was in denial about wanting to depart from the TARDIS after everything they've been through. But like that only that only really works if we know she's not coming back. Like I don't know. It's all a little weird. It's all a little very messy and a lot. Maybe I'm like reflecting maybe I'm looking at the first Russell era with like nostalgia tinted glasses, but like it really is a lot messier. Like, you could say like the whole like season 3 master stuff with the reversing of the time and like everyone believing the doctor kind of on the same vein. I guess you could say that, okay. But like this felt a lot messier than let's say like Bad Wolf, that arc, it yeah, it was just really a mess. And like I still enjoyed it. I still had fun with it. There was still a lot of emotional moments. I teared up a few times, but like really they really needed to clean up these scripts. And I think the issue was that like kind of the same situation with the Star Wars prequels where like Russell is a god in this particular franchise, so they gave him unlimited power, per se, and they didn't really give the checks and balances that they needed. I think, which is surprising for this like being Disney's first season involved. I don't know the extent of their creative involvement or anything like that, but that was a little surprising to me that he didn't get like a little bit more pushback on some of this stuff and a little bit more tightening up of the script. But then again, with everything Disney's been doing with Rise of Skywalker and some of the later Marvel stuff, it's not surprising that the scripts are kind of a mess. Yeah, interesting. They like started bringing in some 73-yard stuff, which I was like, oh, is this gonna tie in? Is this gonna become really important right now? And no, he used it as like a McGuff, Deus Ex Machina. And I was like, oh, like is the 73-yard stuff going to be like really relevant now? And it wasn't. Anyway, I think that about summarizes my thoughts. This was really a mess. This was really a fucking mess, and I'd be lying if I said otherwise. Did I still have fun with it? Did I still enjoy it overall? This season, did I still really enjoy it? Yes, I did. I loved the 15th Doctor. I think he's one of an incredible iteration. He cries in every single episode, which kind of, negates the impact of him crying and being a more of an emotional doctor. Like, if those moments aren't, like, used sparingly. Anyway, but I love Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor. One of my favorite Doctors, I would say. I love Ruby as a companion. I think she's such a great positive force for the show. And I'm excited to see her come back, even though they gave her a pretty definitive finale. Um, yeah, I thought some of the stories we got were great. Some of them were misses, but like that's every Doctor Who season. Overall, like yeah, like I really enjoyed the season. This was a messy fucking finale. But I'm no means like okay, the show's dead. Like a lot, like I see some people like being so hyperbolic. Like you're really gonna say this is more show damning than Timeless Child? This was the Timeless Children, whatever they like. That was fucking nearly show ruining and show ending. This is like okay, it's like it's a shit, but like fairly inconsequential story in the grand scheme of things. So overall, yeah, it was a fucking mess, but like I'm still, it's no means like show rooting for me like a lot of people are saying. People are getting very hyperbolic with it, I would say. But yeah, I think that's my thoughts. That's about it.